The year was 1695. The Indian Ocean burned beneath a red dawn as the wind carried the smell of powder and salt. On those distant waters sailed a ship named Fancy, her black sails swollen with stolen wind, and at her helm stood a man who had defied an empire, robbed the richest vessel on earth, and vanished without a trace. His name was Henry Avery, a sailor, a mutineer, and for a fleeting moment, king of the pirates. Before the legend, there was only the man. Born in Devon, England, around 1659, Avery grew up poor, like most who turned to the sea. He enlisted young, serving on merchant ships and in the Royal Navy, enduring endless voyages, hunger and the whip of command. For decades he worked other men's ships, obeyed other men's orders, and watched gold flow past him into the hands of nobles. To the world he was invisible, another name in the endless roll of sailors who lived and died unknown. But Avery had a gift, patience and calm ambition. He studied the officers, the captains, the trade routes, and the greed that ruled them all. In 1694, England was at war with France and Spain. Privateers, legal pirates, were licensed to raid enemy ships for profit. Avery signed aboard the Charles II, a warship bound for the Spanish Main under Captain Gibson. The crew expected riches. Instead, they found misery. The ship lay stranded in the harbor of Corunna for months, unpaid, half-starved, and growing restless. And in that boiling tension, Avery made his move. Under the cover of night, he whispered to the crew, "Why serve a king who forgets us? We can be our own masters." When the captain slept, Avery led the men below decks, locked the officers in their cabins, and took command without a drop of blood spilled. By dawn, the ship was his. He renamed her Fancy, a ship now free of nations, loyal only to the wind and her captain's ambition. With a crew of about 150 and more cannon than conscience, Avery set course for the Indian Ocean, where fortunes floated unguarded on the trade routes of the world. The Indian Ocean, in the 17th century, was a crossroads of gold, silk, and faith. English, Dutch, Portuguese, Arab, and Indian ships all crisscrossed the waters, each a moving treasure chest. Avery and his crew began attacking small targets, taking supplies and plunder, but his true ambition was larger. Word reached him of the Mughal treasure fleet, ships returning from Mecca, laden with silver and jewels bound for Emperor Aurangzeb's coffers. Among them sailed the mighty Ganj-i-Sawai, a floating fortress with 400 men and 60 guns, a ship no sane pirate would challenge. But Avery wasn't sane. He was certain. In August 1695, near the coast of Arabia, the Fancy and her allied pirate ships gave chase. They pursued the Mughal fleet for days through brutal heat, until finally the Ganj-i-Sawai lagged behind. Cannon roared, smoke thickened the sky. One lucky shot from the Fancy shattered the Mughal flagship's mainmast, crippling her. When Avery's men boarded, a desperate battle erupted. Steel against steel, cries against thunder. The pirates overwhelmed the defenders, seizing the richest prize ever taken at sea. The loot was unimaginable: gold, silver, ivory, and precious stones worth over £600,000, more than 100 million in today's money. For the first time in history, a pirate had not just robbed a ship, he had humiliated an empire. But Avery's triumph came with a curse. News of the massacre reached India, where survivors spoke of horror and greed. The Mughal emperor demanded vengeance. Trade between England and India nearly collapsed, and London was forced to act. A massive manhunt began, the first global pursuit of a pirate in history. Wanted posters bearing Avery's name appeared in every port from London to Madagascar. Governors were ordered to capture him, dead or alive. But by the time the Royal Navy arrived, the Fancy had vanished into the blue. Some say Avery sailed to the pirate haven of Nassau. Others claim he slipped quietly into Ireland, disguised as a merchant. There are stories he bought a small shipyard, married, and lived under another name. Others insist he was betrayed by his own men, robbed of his gold, and died penniless in a tavern, mumbling about his cursed fortune. No one knows for sure. Not a single confirmed sighting of Henry Avery was ever recorded again. But his legend refused to die. Ballads were written. Pamphlets called him the Pirate King. He became the first celebrity criminal of the seas, a man who rose from nothing to command his destiny, if only for a moment. His story inspired thousands to follow. Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and every soul who believed that freedom was worth more than law. Henry Avery was never caught, never crowned, yet he ruled the ocean for a heartbeat in time, and in that heartbeat he became immortal. And so the tide carried him away. Henry Avery, a name swallowed by the sea but never forgotten. His legend still drifts upon the wind wherever freedom dares to sail. This was the pirate who became a king. You've been watching Legends of the Tide, where history's forgotten souls rise again from the deep. Subscribe and set sail with us for the next legend.